Welcome to Horror News Radio for March 13th, 2023. Join us for Horror News of the Week and the top 13 slashers that influenced the Scream franchise. We picked 13. There are hundreds, but we picked 13. All this and more coming up next. I'm your host, Doc Rotten. This is H&R, the official Gruesome Magazine Horror News Podcast. Why is that a tongue twister? I don't know, but it is. Back with me this week are the scariest, goriest, bloodiest co-hosts on the net. Starting off with the living dead girl, Crystal Cleveland. How you doing?
I'm fabulous. Getting ready for this cold snap, which most of you out there are probably getting ready for too.
Yeah, all those people in California and Oregon and all, they're like, what cold snap?
Well, they had snow. They had snow. It's been
what,
really weird, right? It's all wild.
That's what I'm saying. No sarcasm. All right. Also joining us tonight is the one and only, say it with me, Dreher.
I think we did get
that was a good one. That was a great one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was going into the Dave Dreher Hall.
I put extra effort into that.
There you go.
I appreciate it. Much appreciated.
Made me have the cough. All right. I'm excited about tonight. We have 3 really fun articles, and of course, we have our 13 slasher countdowns. And we're talking about the actual slasher. I mean, we'll be mentioning the movies, of course, but we'll be talking about the villain.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay. Well, maybe not. All right, let's find out what we're getting into. You Dave, if you guys follow us, as we approach our 10-year anniversary, can you imagine? Dave, of course, is a slasher fan. The gorier, the better, and I think our love for the genre got a little bit of some appreciation this past weekend. You want to tell me about it?
Absolutely. Actually, I'm wearing my Halloween shirt in celebration of the fact that the one and only Jamie Lee Curtis won an Oscar last night. I think everyone was kind of expecting it. I don't know. I don't
know. I don't think Angela Bassett was.
No, she was not.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'll give you that one. But yeah, she won Best Supporting Actress for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. But what was really cool was during her acceptance speech, she actually took a moment and thanked all of us, all the genre fans who have supported her all through the years. It was just a really classy move. It really, truly was. It just seems like everybody in that film, they just like. They became like a giant family, and you could just feel the love oozing off of them as they one by one kind of each won, because Everything Everywhere kind of cleaned up, right?
Cleaned up.
I mean,
I think so.
Best Picture, Best Director,
Best Actress,
Supporting Actress,
Best Supporting Actor.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and what about those all those pictures of Short Round hugging Harrison Ford?
Oh man, cool. The speeches made me cry. Oh my God, he's just so happy and so authentic in how he appreciates everything. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful for for all 3 of them to win. Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Lee Curtis.
I'm so glad she won. Like, that's so exciting.
Yeah, it was good.
Did you see what she said when they won? She goes, "Shut up."
I love her. She's so...
Yeah. She really is. The fans have always loved her, and she just kind of returns it back twice over. So congratulations, Jamie Lee Curtis. And I think most horror fans were just walking around with a big smile today. Yep. They may not have known why.
I think so. And it was great because horror movies for the most part get grossly ignored. But
they do.
At least the queen of screen queens picked up an Oscar. So yay.
Yeah, that's good. Yay. Did you guys see have you guys seen everything everywhere? Are you everything over?
It was my favorite non-horror film of the year.
Yeah.
Last year. Yeah. I above all the Marvel stuff.
Streaming. Isn't it streaming somewhere though?
Yeah, it's on Showtime. I think it's on Showtime.
It's on Showtime, right, yeah. But it is a wonderful film, and it is well deserved of all the Oscars. I'm surprised that everybody gave it that much love though, because it's a small budget. It's,
Right.
these up and coming directors. It's A24. So yeah, it's kind of remarkable.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
I'm loving it.
All right, for our next article, I think, we all love Nicolas Cage. He has a lot of movies coming out, but this one in particular has a director that we like and then some new cast. Why don't you tell us about it?
Okay, so Nicolas Cage has a movie, in production right now called Longlegs. It's a horror thriller from Jason Cloth and Dave Kaplan's C2 Motion Picture Group. Yay. I'm like, Osgood Perkins is directing from his own script, so that's kind of exciting. Actually, so we have a 2-bit. We've got Alicia Witt and Blair Underwood, who have been cast in the movie. And I don't know if everyone knows who Alicia Witt is or Blair Underwood. I don't remember what I know Blair from, but I know that beautiful face. I remember Alicia
he was
from
on a popular
Dune.
TV show, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I clearly I remember him. I just don't remember what it was because it probably wasn't horror related. And so that stuff usually just kind of goes in and out. But they're cast in this movie. And also now we've actually got a little bit of the plot scenario here. It's filming in Vancouver and it follows FBI agent Lee Harker, played by Maika Monroe.
Maika
Is that how it's
Monroe.
pronounced?
Maika Monroe,
Okay.
yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was pronouncing it right. Who is a gifted new recruit assigned to the unsolved case of an elusive serial killer who's going to be played by Nicolas Cage, which I'm really excited. I hope he plays this really serious. I would love to see him in a serious role. As the case takes complex turns, unearthing evidence of the occult, which supernatural thrillers are my favorite, Harker discovers a personal connection to the merciless killer and must race against time to stop him before he claims the lives of another innocent family. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Nicolas Cage as a serial killer.
I hope he plays it like really
Yeah,
Mhm.
that needs to happen. You said it exactly right. If he plays it straight, full on psycho,
I think it'll be
awesome.
wonderful.
Mhm.
I think that's like perfect for him. I mean, I know he usually goes kind of over the top, and I love him when he does that too. But I think, in Color Out of Space, a lot of it he played very,
Yep.
I think a little bit of that energy, like toned down. He'd be scary.
Until he's pushed back against a corner and then he unleashes his madness. Real quick, so Blair Underwood, he was on LA Law back in the day.
That's it, LA Law.
Okay.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the one.
But I remember him from a show called let's see, where's it at? Dirty Sexy Money. I don't know if anybody else watched that movie, but he was Simon Elder in that, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in his. He was Robert Ironside in the Ironside TV show when they tried to reboot it in 2013. He was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
He was Owen Hall in Quantico. A lot of TV stuff, a lot of movies. Not too many genre. I mean, he was in Bad Hair. We reviewed that.
Oh, I loved Bad Hair.
So he had a small role in that. But he's a gifted actor, and I imagine he's going to be playing probably Maika's boss. Maika Monroe's boss, right? He's going to be the FBI leader. Alicia Witt's probably going to be the victim. That's my guess.
What? No.
That's my guess.
Really?
That's my guess. She's going to be the one that yeah.
Then
I guess. That's my guess. That's
I
my
don't
guess.
know.
Well, unless she's the target. And not the previous victim, but the target victim, the innocent family. Of course,
so
both
you're
of them
you're basing that on like that's like a little sexist. I'm just saying.
All right, is it? It might be. It might be.
Maybe Blair is the victim and she is the detective.
You might be right. I am basing it on like previous roles and things,
and really, honestly, nice. I'm obviously teasing you because that's what I would have thought too. But I'm just.
But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It could be absolutely. I am simply guessing, and yes, it is coming from.
I would love to see it that way, though.
Oh, I feel bad now. All right. But who here's looking forward to Longlegs? And
I am.
It definitely sounds intriguing for sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to covering it here on the show. Of course, our last article tonight is about Jenna Ortega, who is
Yay.
experiencing probably she is just blown up this past year and continuing this year with Scream 6 coming out this past weekend. And she hosted Saturday Night Live. And, we got Wednesday season 2 coming and whatever else she's into, which is going to be amazing. She's a gifted young actress and was great in Scream 6, if anybody saw it. I think a lot of people saw it. And what other film franchise could she possibly be going into? Well, I have the news for that. Warner Brothers is courting Jenna for
Courting. Yeah.
I mean, they are. They want her.
No, yeah.
Right?
They're totally courting her.
For Beetlejuice 2. Now, that's a project that keeps bubbling up to the surface and then drowning and then bubbling back up to the surface. Michael Keaton and Tim Burton have both mentioned wanting to be a part of it or agreeing to be a part of it in some fashion. Whether or not they end up being a part of it is yet to be announced. But Jenna Ortega, if she gets it, they're eyeing her for the role of the daughter of the original character,
Lydia,
which seems perfect. I would imagine if Tim Burton directs, I would imagine she would want to get on board because she worked with Tim Burton with Wednesday, so it would be like a match, right?
Yep.
It would make sense, yes.
And I bet there's money involved. I bet there's a pretty good sized paycheck that she could, at 20 years old, could ask for, which,
Yeah, for sure.
There she is.
What are your thoughts? Is this going to happen, or is it just wishful thinking on Warner Bros? Are they trying to? What is it when you really want something to happen?
What sucks is every time something like this comes out, if it's not like solidified, it seems like it doesn't happen usually when they're trying so hard that they're like putting it out there.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is trying to manifest. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, trying to manifest it.
And who knows? Maybe she doesn't want to become pigeonholed as this like horror goth girl. Maybe that's not what she wants.
I don't think she'd have. Maybe she just doesn't want to do the same type of stuff. But
yeah, because definitely playing like Lydia's daughter or whatever she would be in this Beetlejuice 2 would basically be Wednesday Addams again, right?
I don't know. What if she decides to be Boppy? Yeah, she could be the opposite. I mean, typically children are not the same as their parents. So honestly, it wouldn't make much sense that she would go goth and Lydia. Typically the kids try to be totally different from their parents. Yeah. So,
well, that'd be an interesting twist on it, though, if they did go that route. That would be kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You're probably right, Doc. It's all going to come down to the paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, money talks. Let's be honest. Right? If they offer her,
because I'm guaranteed we're going to see a Scream 7, right? I mean, that's going to happen.
Yes.
One news article that we could have is how much Scream made this past weekend, because it is the highest grossing weekend for the opening weekend for the franchise. So, which is amazing.
Yeah, to be 6 deep and still be pulling that type of audience.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yep. And we have a review coming up, so look for that on the site. But there you go. That's our news for tonight.
We got sidetracked.
We hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of these 3 articles, and let's move into our countdown. Now, of course, we're talking about Scream. We were going to do something else, and I said, why aren't we doing something slasher? So we are going to be counting down what we think. We Dave and I and Crystal, we put our heads together. We picked out 13 films that had some form of influence, some of them more so than others, on Scream, either just straight up in the horror genre or as the actual events in the film or some kind of element of the film that basically allowed Scream to not parody it, because it didn't parody it. It really
it was
all
very
meta, right?
Yeah,
so
it was all
it's
meta,
kind of
yes.
the introduction of meta into the horror genre. And what was interesting as we were looking at it, Dave, you remember we looked, and like in the 90s, there are a handful, roughly speaking, new slashers in the early 90s for the first 6 years, right?
Yeah.
Until Scream. Everything else was just sequels. It was Friday 13th this, it was Nightmare this, it was Halloween that. It was
that's all that literally that's all it was. Literally for like about a 8-year period there.
Yep.
So I think that we have to like mention the fact that Scream itself, the first Scream, was inspired by an actual, the Gainesville Ripper.
Well, that too. Yes.
So we should mention that if we're talking about, things that inspired Scream. I'm just saying that is.
Yep. That's the literal. now we're talking cinematic here. But yeah, of course, Scream came in '96 and really saved horror, because horror was, in my opinion, I remember the '90s as like sucking.
Slow.
Yeah.
Compared to like the '80s had their, Freddie, saving New Line Cinemas, like literally saved that damn cinema. Yep. And then due to Freddie, we had a ton of good, horror movies coming out. And then there's definitely a dip.
Yep.
There's definitely a dip.
Yeah. And then when we get into after that, it's kind of crazy what all happens. But let's do this. What do you guys think? What when you think slasher? Now this isn't necessarily the first slasher. There are a couple other films that you can consider slashers that happened before it, but this is the one I think most people think about. And let's get the pretty faces up here and put the other one down there. And this one is Norman Bates in Psycho. From Alfred Hitchcock, Anthony Perkins playing him. It influenced every slasher after.
Yeah.
And horror films, period.
Yeah.
Especially if you think about the beginning of Scream, right? And then every Scream after it, they tease you with a lead actress that you would think could be the lead of the film. Especially with the first one, it works so wonderfully. And of course, Psycho did that as well, did it not?
It did, in fact.
Oh my God. This is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. I honestly think, I know a couple on our list further down that were definitely even inspired by this movie here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, as we get into the rest of our list, we picked 13. So there are definitely others that could have easily made the list instead of the ones we picked. They're just too many. But these are the 13 we picked. So number 2, we're in the 70s. We just jumped straight to the 70s. There are not as many in the 60s as in the 70s, and not as many in the 80s. 80s is nonsense, but
80s is all slashers all the time.
Yeah. But let's go into the 70s, and we'll do Black Christmas. Which of course is Albert J. Dunk played Billy.
Dunk.
Now, come on, guys. That tagline is, if this picture doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight. What? It's so crazy. That's awesome.
Now, of course, this had he used the phone, right, Dave?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Called him up.
Yeah. Used the phone. Yep. Hidden the walls.
Which of course, what is Scream not known for, if not
the phone call?
Yep. What's your favorite scary movie? So it's you cannot do this list without this with Billy. And then plus it's a great film. And Bob Clark, of all people, directed it. Of course, Bob Clark made a couple of genre films before he got into doing
Christmas Story. Porky's.
Oh my God, Porky's.
Oh, wow.
So he definitely was multi-talented. Great guy.
He had a dark side for sure.
All right. So the next one is also in 74. Does anybody want to take a guess of what other character in 1974 that was introduced might have influenced slashers?
Maybe.
Oh,
obviously
Everybody in the audience has mentioned it. Go ahead.
Well, we know what it is. So Leatherface. I mean, I don't. I'm like, are we supposed to answer? We know. We
Is it
know what we.
rhetorical?
Yeah.
We read the show notes.
Yeah. What happened is true. Well, not completely, but I mean,
Close enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the tagline could work for Scream too. Who will survive and what will be left of them?
Yeah. Could. Very much so.
Toby Hooper, of course, directed it, and Gunnar Hansen played Leatherface. At least in this film, there's many other. How many Leatherface? I mean, gosh, I don't even know.
I don't know.
Six of them?
6 or 7.
I mean, 6, maybe 7, counting the Netflix one that came out here not too long ago.
So undoubtedly, I mean, you keep undoubtedly, and then the next one, straight up, just cannot deny Michael Myers from Halloween, directed by John Carpenter, of course, played by
The
Nick
Mask,
Castle.
a silent killer. I mean, there's, quite a bit here.
Knives. This is the one that used knives more than everybody else. Well, I guess except for Norman Bates. Norman Bates, of course, used a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's some telephone in Halloween too, as well, a little bit. When PJ Souls gets Souls gets strangled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yep. Well, you could have said that about Psycho too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. She mentioned her mom and dad.
And her dad. Yeah.
All right. Up next, Dave and I debated about this, and then I think I finally convinced him. Well, I did convince him because we put it in here, but it took some convincing. Mainly because it took a bit to kind of remember who the actual killer was. But When a Stranger Calls, Kurt Duncan is the killer, played by Tony Beckley. Fred Walton is the director in 1979. And the phone call alone, the killer is in the house, is, the first half of this film. It's really, we reviewed this a few years back on Decades of Horror, and I'd forgotten that the film was so one half this and one half that, because it jumps a few years after that famous entry, beginning of it. And that structure kind of follows, maybe not the span of time, but the shifting of characters, or shifting of time and focus. Definitely Scream did that.
Oh, for sure. And the whole thing of being hunted in a place where you're supposed to feel safe.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But the phone call alone. All right. 1980, everybody knows what we're going for here, and that is Friday the 13th. Of course, we're talking Pamela Voorhees here. There is a Jason Voorhees. He's not, he may be the killer. It really is.
Everybody knows. Oh, come on. Every time someone mentions this, everyone's like, it wasn't Jason Voorhees that was the killer. It was Pamela in the first one. You guys are stupid. I mean, like, if you haven't heard that 100 times, then, sorry.
Yeah. Well, the question about that has actually come up in at least one of the Scream films.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
For sure.
Yeah, of course, Sean S. Cunningham and Betsy Palmer and Ari Lehman and did I say that Lehman?
Ari Lehman, yeah.
Played young Jason. We didn't see the Jason that we would come to know. That would be in Friday 13th Part 2, and then the Mask would come in Friday 13th Part 3. That, thinking back, that we didn't really get
it's crazy. Yeah.
the Mask until the third film, and that's.
Yeah. The second one we had Tater Sack Jason.
We had the
potato
sack,
yeah.
But it looked great though.
I liked it. Yeah.
I love the second one. I love the fourth one. And the sixth one. I like all the even ones more than except for the first, of course. But
those odd ones are just odd.
They're just odd.
But the third one's in 3D, and that was fun. I don't know. I think I love them all. All right. Well, 1980 gave us hundreds of entries. 1980 through 84 is insane. But this one we kind of had to pick. And this, of course, is a favorite of Dave's for the same reason Friday the 13th is, and that's Maniac. Joe Spinell.
It's a really disturbing movie, though. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I just rewatched it recently.
Did you see the Elijah Wood remake?
Yes,
I liked it.
Yeah,
that was good. That was good too. But I don't know this William Lustig one. It's just got a sleaziness to it.
Yeah, he
Well,
does.
it's New York in 1980, so of course it is.
Yeah.
Look at that poster. Look at the shirt unbuttoned and ew.
Yeah.
They're really trying hard to make him nasty.
He was nasty. That was a nasty movie. But it was good. I mean, some great effects, right? Tom doing some of his best stuff. So
yeah, and being in it too, right? So
yeah, blew off his own head.
Yeah.
Great story. He told us we had him on the show once, and he shared the story of filming that, and it was it's quite the story. I'm sure, Dave, you've heard that thing 100 times.
Oh yeah, 100,000 times. Yes, guerrilla filmmaking at its finest.
Yes,
for sure.
All right, 1981. We're 1 year next. Now I think this is one that maybe not as many people have seen, but if you're a horror fan and a slasher fan, you probably have. But The Burning from 1980, Cropsey, played by Lou David, directed by Tony Malin.
Cropsey's never gotten the love he deserved. We're about a little bit of a Savini thing here. That's 3 Savinis.
I was going to say this is Savini as well, right? Yeah.
But yeah, the Burning never. I mean, after it did, when it was actually out in theaters and stuff, this is one of those ones that kind of became a hit after it hit VHS because it didn't really do much. In
more
the
of a cult classic than.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people know it. Well, the poster along with the
it is a cool poster
over its head. It's just great. And there's the cast is insane too. We won't get into it here, but
Holly Hunter,
Jason Alexander's in it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of insane.
It really is.
All right, here's another. I think this is a fan favorite as well. My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, of course.
Harry Warden, also called the Miner, played by Peter Cowper, if I have that right, and George Michalka directed it. Michalka. I'm pronouncing things. Dave, tell us a little bit about this film.
It was a different take on the slasher genre here. In this one here, we had a guy in a mining outfit stalking around inside an abandoned mine. It was quite good. The remake was actually quite good as well.
Yes.
That's really what I think about.
One of the few that actually.
But I mean, Harry Warden, he definitely lives in the chronicles of slasher history for sure. And there was just a fan film somebody did, Valentine Bluff or something like that I just watched recently that was actually really good as well. Where it was like a fan film where they resurrected Harry once again, and he went murdering through the mines. But I mean, that's really about all you can say about it. It's a bunch of kids running around a mine shaft with a deranged miner dude chasing them. Yeah,
and a lot of finding the dead bodies, which is something Scream does a lot. You open a door and there's a dead body there. And that was, I think, the one that I remember the most is opening up the dryer. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. In the laundromat, yeah.
The laundromat, right? Those old spinning ones. Yes. All right. Up next, this is a fun one. The Slumber Party Massacre. There is a driller killer, but not necessarily called a driller killer. There is a film called Driller Killer. But this is Russ Thorne, played by Michael Villela, Villela. Go for it. Directed by Amy Holden Jones. Now this one was this one's where satire starts to come in. So this one definitely has that influence. Maybe not satire, but self-awareness, right?
So those girls are supposed to be in high school.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm looking at that and I'm like, I swear I remember they were in high school throwing a slumber party. I'm pretty sure. No.
But that's some great box art right there. If you're a 16 or 17-year-old boy going through the Blockbuster and you see that cover, you're getting it.
Oh, I remember walking down to the mom and pop at the corner and getting it. I was just like, I gotta watch this, and it didn't at this point. Nor did the sequels.
Yeah, very true. Then at some point, we one of the sequels we have a guitarist with a guitar that's a drill or something, right?
I think so.
Remembering that properly?
Oh my god!
I think so. There's all kinds of ones.
That's actually really funny.
Now, one of the things that Scream does and everyone is have the twist, right, about the killer. Who's the killer? It's a twist. Now, when you think about films that do a twist about the killer, what film did it better? What film did it better?
It all. Yeah.
Better than Sleepaway Camp? Felissa Rose. Felisa, right? Did I say that right?
Felisa.
Felisa.
Felisa. I always do it wrong, and she hates
Yep.
me for it. Angela Baker, of course, she plays, and directed by Robert Hiltzik. Yeah, if you do not know what the surprise is, we're not going to spoil it here, but check it out. You will be.
How can you possibly not know what the surprise is?
I think everybody knows.
You have to know.
And that is. Do you remember how shocked you were when you first saw it?
So
Yeah,
okay,
actually, I do,
I'm
yeah.
gonna admit something, and y'all are. It's kind of embarrassing, but I watched this for the first time only like I'm not kidding, like 8 years ago. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it hasn't been that long. I actually watched it at in a theater in Dallas with Joe Bob Briggs. He did like he did a showing there and was like talking about it and stuff. And I had no idea. I
had no idea.
Know.
Oh my God! What a beautiful moment.
I didn't know.
What
It was beautiful. Well, the whole movie, I was like, they didn't really dress like that then, did they? Like, I was like, they didn't really wear that. That's not true, right? Like, no one actually dressed like that, right? And then, so the whole movie just was, oh my gosh, some of the dialogue. I mean, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. I don't know why I never saw, well, I kind of only was able to see what I, could see. I didn't,
Right. Yeah.
get to like make all my choices. So, but man, that movie is one of the greatest movies ever made, just for so many reasons.
So many reasons. So
Yeah.
many. All right. So that's 11 down. Going by quick. Up next. All right. Nightmare on Elm Street. You can't have slashers and not consider what Nightmare on Elm Street did for a lot of things. There's so much stuff. You have to do it. It's just on the pure, if nothing else, just for taking over popular culture, which of course Ghostface has done as well.
Well, and of course Wes Craven. I mean,
well,
come on.
You got the director as well. Yeah, you could do literal. We can go literal. Yeah.
And the wisecracking, killer. I mean, Robert Englund created that.
Yep. Which I love.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely, you can't. We kind of argued, Doc, when we were doing this, or didn't argue. A point of discussion was that he's really more kind of supernatural because he lives in the dreams. But
right,
you can't not have him.
Yeah, you start making too many rules, and you end up losing your darlings, and you didn't want to do that. But the director itself and the whole pop culture element of it allows it to be part of this in and of itself. And of course, you can't deny it's one of the, along with many of the ones that we mentioned, the iconic slashers, especially of the 80s, right? Now there are some that we're skipping that are people going to get up, and we did have the debate, do we include Pinhead? Is that a slasher? And no, or is it a horror icon? Do we include Candyman? Right? That's a tricky one. We probably could easily, but it's So we made some choices that are people are gonna have something to say about, but we have number 13.
Controversial.
But number 13, we chose Charles Lee Ray, more so than Chucky, but Charles Lee Ray Chucky from Child's Play. Tom Holland, Brad Dourif. It is just fun stuff.
Like,
he's definitely a slasher, but again, more supernatural than realistic. You use the word realistic.
Yep.
They both are really, both of them, Nightmare on Elm Street and Chucky, kind of take the stalk and slash formula and they kind of reinvented it a little bit. One with dreams, one with possessed doll.
I mean, there's some other ones we like. I kind of think maybe the Stepfather could have.
Stepfather is a good one.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. Talked about Madman Mars. Yeah, bringing that one up.
I mean, there's so many. There's so many.
April Fool's Day we talked about.
Oh,
because it was parody as well a little bit. There's just so many.
Happy Birthday to Me is another.
Happy Birthday to Me, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Prom night to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Prom night could have been in there. Terror Train.
Terror Train.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to think now. Every time I want to come up with something, it takes me too long.
Well, I mean, really, back in the day, almost every weekend, you could go see a slasher movie at the theater.
Yep.
Yeah, we even talked about Phantasm, which is far from a
yeah.
slasher movie, but there's no denying Angus Scrimm's iconic Tom.
Yeah, yes.
And we purposely steered away from Giallo films. But if you included Giallo films in this, then you would just flood the gates.
I think it was smarter to stay away from them because it doesn't, I mean, the style does. I haven't really.
Well, if you look at like what's Deep Red, of course, but what was the one before that? That I think Argento did, or was it Mario Bava? There's one that really influenced Friday the 13th. Like you could see it straight up. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Scream. So, but to think that it's been 37 years since Scream came out and it's still going so strong.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Amazing.
It really is
crazy.
And
that explains
congratulations
a lot,
to that.
right?
And to be such quality. I mean, it is, it is really a fun film, excellent film, really well done. The new directors, Radio Silence, have really captured the essence of it and give it a little bit spark as well. And of course, the new cast is great. Having Jenna Ortega is a coup of sorts, because she was in the first one and now, continues on.
Well, I think they got her at the right time.
They did.
Yeah.
Just
that
before.
was a little bit of luck in that one, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I'm waiting for Scream in Space. Scream in Space is going to be the one.
They always go to space.
Where horror movies go to die.
Oh my gosh. Well, there you go. We thought this would be fun. The top 13 slashers that, chronologically influenced Scream. Now, come back next week and we're going to do those that followed, those that were perhaps influenced by Scream. Some of them directly, and then others just kind of carrying the torch.
We're going to exclude actual Scream movies.
We got to exclude Scream movies. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we automatically start off with.
And we're not going to do scary movie either. So, because
that's obvious. Oh, that was a good one though.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we'd love to hear what you think of this list. We'd love to hear, which movie. I'm asking for it here, but what movies would you have put in here instead? There's dozens, and then I was surprised to find Peep Show is another early film that is considered a slasher, and actually I think it predates Psycho. But there's actually one.
You're thinking of Peeping Tom.
Peeping Tom. Thank you, Peeping Tom. Thank you. I misspoke. And then I was looking, and there's another film from I think the 40s that actually has a killer going around slashing. It's not quite as visceral because 40s, but but there you go. I mean, Psycho kind of turned that up with the whole shower scene alone, right?
Very much.
Yes.
Hitchcock, the master. Mm-hmm. But that's a lot of fun. I really had a good time with this list, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah, it's actually much harder to compile than I thought it might be. But
once we got into narrow it down is really the hardest part.
That is the hardest part. I mean, you could literally, we were like, okay, we have 72 killers. Which ones should we put? All right, let's split them in half. All right. We do have some feedback. We'll get this out the door real quick.
Awesome.
We'll be wrapping up. Chad White commented on our last episode a couple weeks back when we did our what's coming up in March. And he says, great show, everyone. I really enjoy these shows. Thank you, Chad.
Yay.
Thank you.
There's a lot of movies to look forward to. I'm most excited about 65.
Mm-hmm.
Guns and Dinosaurs.
Well, it's out. I wonder what he thinks of it.
Oh. Now, it real quick on that, but thank you, Chad. But it did not have I think they were like 8 or 9 million is what it was predicted, and it came out at 12. And now there are people out there writing articles like, where is it? What happened to it? It actually exceeded expectation. So don't be fooled by that. The movie actually did fairly well based on that aspect of it.
Yeah, well, Scream definitely took a lot of the thunder. I mean, I got invited to a press screener for it, and I missed it because I thought it didn't open until next weekend.
Yeah.
So, you got that.
Yep, there you go. All right, if you enjoy the show, please hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend buttons. It'll help us find more horror fans like you. And of course, we'd love to hear your comments down below. Let us know what you think. And of course, check out the Patreon link if you want to help keep the lights on. With this, Dave, Crystal, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having
Doc.
us.
All right, well, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.